Welcome to my channel, Old Times is Not Forgotten. Today, we're in Walla Walla, Washington in the 1800s. Back then, Walla Walla's nickname was the Garden City. Today's newspaper is the Garden City Gazette. This newspaper today has everything: an escape at the penitentiary, news about Whitman College, a funny burglar, and much more. So grab your time capsule hat and grab a sweetheart, and we'll see what it was like in 1894 in Walla Walla, Washington, USA. Attempted escape. Convict Pataha, a 5-year man, attempted to escape from the penitentiary Wednesday. He was engaged with other inmates of the pen in unloading coal at the bunkers which are located below the jute mill. One of the cars had a hole in the end for the facilitating of loading the lumber. Pataha crawled into the car and escaped through the hole in the end. The guards mounted their horses, and after a chase of about 3/4 of a mile, captured the runaway and re-incarcerated him in his accustomed haunts. Furnished rooms, with or without board, at 121 Birch Street near First Street. One building from the 1800s you can still see in Walla Walla is the Paine building. In 1894, it was an opera house. Here's an article about that. John Court, the enterprising manager of Paine's Opera House, has just received plans which, if carried out, will give Walla Walla a magnificent playhouse. It is proposed to make over the present hall by dropping the floor to the ground. This ground floor will be made up in the form of an inclined plane. There will then be room in the north end of the building for a balcony and a gallery. The entire cost is only $5,880. Paine's Opera House, one night only. The funniest man on earth, Sam J. Burton, and the charming comedian, Miss Lily Coleman, in the new C. Perkins, a hip, hurrah, hilarious, sensational comedy drama. Prices 50-cent and $1 seat. Did you know one of the most famous women of the time stayed in Walla Walla and performed there? She is known to history as America's first celebrity, Jenny Lind. P.T. Barnum himself sponsored her in an American tour and called her the Swedish Nightingale.
But the room to which I was particularly drawn was the one devoted to Jenny Lind. I know, in a small way, how warm a welcome the American people can extend to an artist. Jenny Lind's visit back in 1850 is still celebrated in books and on the screen.
Seated on the bough of a tree overhanging a shallow, still place in the river, the writer saw a man. He was armed with a rifle of a .32 caliber and seemed to be intently watching the level stretch of water beneath him. A moment later, he rested his gun against a limb just beneath his waist, took careful aim, and fired. Taking up a net attached to a long pole, he scooped up a beautiful bass. Upon examination, I saw that the fish had been shot through the head. You see, in the spring of the year, the fish like to get in the still, shallower water and warm up with the sun. It's no particular knack in shooting 'em, for they get as close to the top of the water as possible and just lay as still as one of them stones at the bottom. C.L. Wingard, Electric Supplies, number 9 First Street. Incandescent lamps, only 40 cents each. Cottage Restaurant, meals 25 cents. By the week, $3.50. The Schwabacher Company, leaders in groceries, boots, shoes, clothing, furnishing goods, window shades, dry goods, and carpet. New Blacksmith and Wagon Shop, W.A. Williams and W. Dalton at 208 2nd Street. A new establishment. The Beehive is the name in which Mr. W.H. Blackman has applied to the new store, which he established on the corner of Main and First Streets. Chicago has a Beehive, which is one of the attractions of the city, where on special days, goods can be brought for less than it costs to make them. At the Walla Walla Beehive, Mr. Blackman intends to follow this plan. Mr. Blackman is fitting up his new quarters very handsomely, and he has employed his daughter, Miss Cora Blackman, to manage the department for ladies' goods. The Beehive, corner of Main and First Streets. I have just returned from New York, where I bought for spot cash fancy dry goods, hats, caps, ladies and gents furnishing goods, stationery, low prices, courteous attention, and big values. Baseball is the status quo. The two city clubs are the Walla Walla Professionals and the Walla Walla Juniors. A contest is desired against the Whitman College Club. The college campus will most likely be selected as the battleground. Let's hope they contain enough starch to meet our enthusiasts. A senior banquet is in contemplation by the trustees and President Eaton at Dr. Blaylock's fruit farm west of the city. This will occur immediately after the commencement exercises. A special train will convey the students out to the place. Dr. Blaylock has agreed to supply the luscious strawberry for the occasion. A reception will follow afterward to be given at the Ladies' Hall. "Ah-woo! Ah-woo! Whitman!" resounded through the verdant woods across the turbulent Mill Creek. The Walla Walla bandwagon, with a competent driver and 4 trusty steeds, conveyed the young members of the college. Arriving in the woods, booming fires were built, around which the merrymakers gathered. A tennis ground was soon improvised, and the young ladies were initiated into the art of missing the ball occasionally. A few betook themselves to the comfortable hammock, and having their class books with them, studied the happy hours away. The feature of the day was the bounteous feast at the noon hour, the tables covered with snowy linen, prettily decorated with ferns and loaded with goodies, groaned beneath its weight. A story is going the rounds in Philadelphia in which a gentleman and his family were away for Easter vacation. When they returned, the house was discovered to have broken into, and everything was turned topsy-turvy. After a careful search, however, the family found that nothing had been stolen. But the true facts developed when a carefully worded note was found upon the dining-room table. In this epistle, the facetious burglar had taken pains to assure the owner of the property that nothing had been taken away. "We have tested your silverware," the note explained, "and find it to be plated. Your curtains are of inferior quality, and the jewelry, such as your wife and daughters possess, is scarcely worth carrying off. We had expected better things of you." Although greatly relieved, the gentleman of the house could not conceal his chagrin. and now that the story has leaked out, he doesn't like it one bit.